The mysterious SOS. The vastness of space was cold and silent. Stars shimmered like tiny lanterns in the darkness, peaceful and distant. But on Earth's command station, alarms shattered that silence. Commander Reyna Torres stood on the command deck, her eyes locked on the glowing red alert. The signal was old, ancient even. The patterns didn't match any known species. The tech officers whispered nervously. "Where is it coming from?" Reyna asked. Lieutenant Harris checked the readings. His voice shook. "Sector 7 Delta. A dead zone, ma'am. No colonies. No life." He paused, then added, "The message is in fragments. We barely decoded it." "Play it," Reyna ordered. The room filled with static. Then a voice, metallic, distorted, and trembling with fear. "The Devourers. Awakened. Help us. Please, before they consume everything." The crew stared at each other. Devourers. The word was unfamiliar, yet carried a weight that made everyone uneasy. Reyna's mind raced. SOS signals were rare. An ancient distress call from a dead zone. It could be a trap. But she couldn't ignore it. "Where are the coordinates?" she asked. "Locked in," Harris said. Reyna turned toward the holomap. The coordinates pointed to a planet listed as Cillaris 4. Official records said the planet had been dead for 300 years. "The Cillaris were wiped out centuries ago," said Lieutenant Vega. "A war they couldn't win. Or a war they never finished," Reyna replied. "Prep the fleet. We're going in." Hours later, Earth's strike fleet roared through hyperspace. From her command chair, Reyna studied the alien message again. The voice was female and terrified. The Cillaris were once a proud race, known for their advanced technology and peaceful ways, but their disappearance had remained a mystery, until now. "Ma'am, we're arriving," Harris announced. The stars bent and twisted as the fleet dropped out of hyperspace. Cillaris 4 appeared on the view screen. The planet was cracked and scarred, its surface covered in ash and storms. Lightning flashed across massive craters. "This place looks like death," Vega whispered. Reyna agreed, but kept her voice steady. "Scan the surface." The scanners hummed. The results appeared seconds later. "Ma'am, there's a city down there, half buried, and life signs." Harris hesitated. One strong signature. "It's not human." "Prepare a landing team," Reyna ordered. The shuttle descended through thick clouds and swirling ash. The ground was black and brittle, cracking beneath the landing gear. Reyna led the team out. The air was thin, and the sky glowed orange. Ahead stood ruins of tall, twisted buildings covered in claw marks and scorch marks. "Something destroyed this city," Vega said. "No," Reyna knelt by the ground. The ash was mixed with metal shards and bone fragments. "Something fed here." A low sound broke the silence. A hum, faint but growing louder. The soldiers raised their weapons. A figure emerged from the shadows. It was tall and slender, with silver skin covered in cracks and deep scars. Its eyes glowed faintly blue. The being wore a torn robe with a crest of stars across its chest. Reyna stepped forward, lowering her weapon slightly. "I'm Commander Reyna Torres of Earth's Defense Fleet. We received your signal." The figure swayed but did not fall. Its voice, though weak, was the same as the message. "I am Queen Cillaris of the Cillaris." She took a shaky breath. "You should not have come." Reyna's instincts screamed danger. "Why?" Cillaris's eyes filled with sorrow. "Because they followed my signal." A deep guttural roar echoed across the ruins. The ground trembled. From the shadows of broken towers, creatures appeared. They were monstrous, spiked limbs, metallic hides, and mouths that clicked open with needle-sharp teeth. Their black eyes glowed with cold hunger. Reyna's pulse raced. "Fall back. Get to the shuttle." The soldiers opened fire. Plasma blasts hit the creatures but barely slowed them down. The Devourers moved fast, like wolves hunting prey. Cillaris raised her hands. A blue energy wave pulsed from her body, pushing the creatures back for a moment. "They won't stop," she gasped. "They will chase us across the stars." The team reached the shuttle and sealed the doors. Outside, the creatures scratched and slammed against the hull. The pilot launched the shuttle into the sky. Below, the devourers gathered in endless numbers, like ants pouring from a broken nest. Reyna stared at the horrifying sight. "What are those things?" "The devourers," Cillaris whispered. "They consumed my world. Now, they come for yours." As the shuttle ascended, the sensors beeped wildly. "Commander," Harris's voice cracked through the comm. "We've detected something huge rising from the planet." The shuttle's rear cameras displayed the image. From the planet's largest crater, a colossal creature emerged. Its carapace glowed with molten veins, and its eyes burned with cold intelligence. It turned its massive head toward the shuttle. Reyna's heart froze as the creature opened its mouth, and a deep, resonating growl filled the comms. "We see you." The Queen's warning. The shuttle shook violently as it raced toward Earth's fleet. The engines roared at maximum thrust, straining to escape the gravity well of Cillaris 4. Commander Reyna Torres gripped the seat handles tightly, her heart pounding. Through the rear cameras, the monstrous figure of the hive spawn was still visible. It stood atop the broken planet like a predator watching its prey escape. The creature didn't move. It didn't need to. It had already sent its children to do the chasing. Behind the shuttle, swarms of devourer drones poured into the sky. Hundreds of them, sleek and angular, with glowing red eyes and wings that vibrated with a mechanical hum. They moved like a single mind, weaving through the air with terrifying precision. "Shields at full," Reyna ordered. "Get us to the fleet, now." Lieutenant Vega's fingers danced over the controls. "Shields holding, but those things are gaining." The alien queen. Cillaris sat slumped in the co-pilot's chair. Her silver skin was cracked, and her breathing was labored. She opened her eyes, the faint blue glow flickering. "They won't stop," she said weakly. "They follow the scent of life. The more we run, the harder they chase." "Then what do we do?" Reyna asked. "Let them catch us." "No," Cillaris said. "We must outsmart them." The drone swarm grew closer. The creature's metallic wings shimmered like polished knives. Plasma shots from the shuttle's rear turrets hit several drones, but the rest adapted, twisting their bodies mid-flight to dodge. Reyna's mind raced. Direct force wouldn't work. They needed misdirection. "Pilot, cut thrust on my mark," she commanded. The pilot hesitated but nodded. 3, 2, 1. Mark. The engines shut off. The shuttle dropped like a stone. The pursuing drones overshot, their momentum carrying them forward. Now, reverse thrust. The engines fired again, sending the shuttle into a sharp downward dive toward the planet's shadow side. The devourers adjusted course, but lost precious seconds. Cillaris raised a hand, her eyes glowing brighter. A wave of blue energy shot from the shuttle's hull, creating a brief sensor echo. The drones chased the false signal. Reyna exhaled. "That bought us time. Let's get to the fleet." The shuttle shot upward, breaking through the planet's atmosphere. In orbit, Earth's battle fleet awaited them. 2 dreadnoughts, 6 cruisers, and dozens of smaller attack craft. The flagship, ESS Valkyrie, loomed ahead. "This is Commander Torres," Reyna radioed. "Incoming with VIP and hostile pursuers. Prepare for defensive action." "Acknowledged, Commander," came the response. "Weapons hot." The fleet opened fire as the drones reached orbit. Plasma beams carved through the swarm, disintegrating dozens of the creatures. The rest scattered but didn't retreat. Instead, they regrouped into a spiral formation and attacked the fleet's outer perimeter. The shuttle docked with the Valkyrie. Reyna and Cillaris rushed to the command deck. The crew stood at attention as Reyna entered. "Report," she snapped. Devourer drones attacking the outer defense line. Harris said, "They're learning fast, adapting to our plasma patterns. Switch firing modes every 5 seconds. Don't let them predict us," Reyna ordered. "Target their wings. Slow them down." The battle raged beyond the windows. The Devourers moved like a storm, swarming a destroyer and tearing through its hull with razor limbs. Sparks and debris filled the void. "They're probes," Cillaris said, voice hollow. "Testing your defenses." Reyna turned to her. "What are they looking for?" "Vulnerability," Cillaris said. "And they will find it. Unless we stop their Hive Mother." The name sent a chill through Reyna. What is the Hive Mother? Cillaris's glowing eyes locked with hers. The origin of the swarm. The mind behind their hunger. It is not a single creature, but a living weapon, part machine, part biology. It learns with each battle, adapting to every weapon it encounters. "And it's here." Cillaris nodded. "It followed my signal. My last act of desperation became an invitation." Reyna's jaw tightened. The Devourers had been dormant for centuries. The Queen's cry for help had awakened more than humanity's curiosity. It had drawn death itself across the stars. The comms officer interrupted. "Commander, we're picking up a transmission from the enemy swarm." "Play it." Static crackled through the speakers. Then came a voice, inhuman yet oddly familiar. "Earth. Fighters. We see you. We know you. We will consume you." The voice was a distorted echo of Cillaris's own. The Hive Mother had learned her language. "Commander," Harris said, voice trembling. "That signal, it's coming from the edge of the system, from something big. Magnify." The holomap shifted to show the outer rim near Neptune. A dark shape loomed there, larger than any recorded ship. It resembled a massive cocoon, pulsating with faint red veins. Tendrils of black matter extended from it, scanning the nearby space. "The Hive Mother's seed," Cillaris said softly. "It's building its army." Reyna clenched her fists. "How do we kill it?" Cillaris closed her eyes. "We must go into its core, plant a fusion bomb. It will resist with everything it has." Reyna turned to her crew. "Prep the fleet. Full mobilization." The Hive Mother was here for Earth. Humanity would meet it with fire. Battle on the dead planet. The stars shimmered like cold, unblinking eyes as Earth's fleet moved toward Neptune's outer orbit. The Hive Mother's cocoon loomed ahead, a shadow against the black canvas of space. Its surface pulsed with crimson veins, and jagged tendrils stretched outward like a vast spiderweb, anchoring it to drifting asteroids. The thing wasn't just resting, it was feeding. Commander Reyna Torres stood at the Valkyrie's command console, her jaw tight. Her eyes never left the massive, living object beyond the reinforced windows. The sensors displayed unnerving data, biological growth rates accelerating, energy readings spiking every minute. The Hive Mother was evolving. "This thing isn't just growing," Lieutenant Harris said, voice unsteady. "It's terraforming the asteroids, breaking them down into biomass." "For what?" Reyna asked. "More drones," Cillaris said softly. The Exilari Queen stood beside her, eyes glowing faintly. Her silver skin was paler now, lined with cracks that pulsed with blue energy. The Hive Mother doesn't conquer with armies. It devours the foundations of life, turning entire worlds into breeding grounds for its swarm. Reyna's stomach turned. "How did your people fight it?" Cillaris lowered her gaze. "We didn't. We ran. We hid. And still, it found us." The command deck fell silent. The implications were clear. Running wasn't an option for Earth. "We fight," Reyna said firmly. "We end this here." The fleet repositioned near Neptune's orbit. The plan was simple but dangerous. Target the Hive Mother's core with precision strikes, while ground teams planted fusion charges on its cocooned surface. If the Hive Mother adapted too quickly, the mission would fail, and Earth's fate would be sealed. The first phase began with heavy bombardment. The dreadnoughts unleashed plasma lances, slicing through the tendrils wrapped around the asteroids. The cocoon writhed in response, its surface convulsing as red fissures glowed brighter. "The cocoon's surface is hardening," Harris reported. "It's adapting already." "Switch to kinetic rounds," Reyna ordered. "Hit it with solid mass." The cruisers fired tungsten rounds into the cocoon. The impact shattered parts of the outer shell, exposing a sickly, pulsating layer beneath. From those openings, swarms of devourer drones poured out like angry hornets. "There they are," Vega said, gripping her console. "Here comes the swarm." The drones moved with terrifying speed. They didn't fly in straight lines. They twisted and spiraled unpredictably, forcing Earth's gunners to constantly adjust targeting systems. Plasma blasts tore through the swarm, but the creatures quickly adapted, growing reflective chitin that deflected energy shots. "Switch frequencies every 3 seconds, Reyna barked. "Don't let them lock onto one pattern." The fleet adjusted, and more drones exploded in mid-flight. But the Hive Mother was learning. "Ma'am, they're clustering near the lead dreadnought," Harris said. "Looks like they're forming something." On the view screen, hundreds of drones merged together mid-flight. Their bodies liquefied and reformed, fusing into a massive serpentine construct with glowing red eyes. The creature lunged at the dreadnought, wrapping its body around the ship like a constrictor snake. Its tendrils pierced the hull, spreading black veins across the metal. "Fire on that thing," Reyna ordered. The fleet's weapons blasted the creature, but its surface absorbed the energy. The dreadnought's lights flickered and died as the creature drilled into the reactor core. The Hive Mother's voice echoed across the comms. "Energy. Assimilated. Patterns learned. Flesh and metal. 1." The dreadnought detonated in a silent explosion. The creature disintegrated, but its sacrifice had served its purpose. The Hive Mother now understood Earth's plasma technology. The Valkyrie trembled as the Hive Mother sent out another pulse. The Devourer drone shifted tactics, targeting the remaining dreadnought's engines. Reyna's hands clenched into fists. "We can't hold this position." "Cillaris, do we know where the core is?" The Cillaris Queen's eyes glowed brighter. "Yes. The core is deep within the cocoon's center, but it is protected by biomechanical defenses. If we send a strike team now, they may have a chance." Reyna turned to Vega. "Prep the ground teams. We go in." The strike team launched from the Valkyrie in armored shuttles. Reyna led the assault, Cillaris beside her. The shuttles dove toward the cocoon's surface, weaving through enemy fire. Devourer drones swooped in, but Earth's fighters kept them at bay. The shuttles pierced the outer shell and landed on a gelatinous surface that squelched underfoot. The ground pulsed like muscle tissue. Tendrils writhed and recoiled as the soldiers deployed fusion bombs. Cillaris knelt and placed her hand on the ground. Her eyes glowed brighter. "The Hive Mother knows we are here. It's redirecting drones." "We work fast," Reyna said. "Set the charges." The team planted the devices along a network of pulsating veins. The bombs sensed to a single detonator. "Charges ready, Commander," Vega reported. Reyna held the detonator. "Let's get out." The ground convulsed. A massive fissure split the surface, and from the opening emerged a towering biomechanical creature. It resembled a humanoid figure, but its body was composed of writhing tendrils and black chitin. Its eyes glowed red, mirroring the Hive Mother's predatory gaze. Cillaris's face paled. The Hive Guardian, a piece of the Hive Mother itself. The creature lunged, slamming its spiked limbs into the ground. Soldiers fired, but the blasts reflected off the creature's armored skin. Reyna activated her comm. "Fleet, target our position. Maximum yield." "Commander," Harris's voice crackled with disbelief. "Do it," she shouted. The team sprinted back to the shuttles as the Hive Guardian roared and charged after them. The fleet's cannons locked onto their location and fired. Reyna's team boarded the shuttles just as the plasma rounds hit. The ground exploded, vaporizing the Hive Guardian and launching the shuttles into space with the shockwave. The crew gasped as they escaped the blast zone. The cocoon's outer shell was cracked, revealing the glowing core deep within. But the Hive Mother wasn't defeated. "The core is regenerating," Cillaris said, eyes wide. "And now it knows Earth's tactics." Reyna stared at the pulsing heart of the enemy. "Next time," she whispered, "we bring everything." Earth prepares for war. The Valkyrie drifted through space, scared and battered from the battle near Neptune. Debris floated alongside the ship, shattered drones, melted armor plating, and fragments of the destroyed dreadnought. The crew worked in grim silence, repairing systems while their minds wrestled with the horrifying reality they now faced. The Hive Mother was learning. It had already adapted to Earth's primary weapons, and it was still growing. Commander Reyna Torres stood in the observation room, gazing at the distant planet Earth. The blue marble shimmered with life, unaware of the doom that crept closer with each passing hour. Behind her, Queen Cillaris sat on a medical platform. Her silver skin was cracked like fragile porcelain, the glow beneath dimmer than before. "They know us now," Reyna said softly. Cillaris's eyes opened. "Yes, the Hive Mother has touched your technology, your tactics, your patterns. Its intelligence is not like ours. It does not plan. It reacts, learns, evolves." Reyna clenched her jaw. "Then we'll just have to get creative." Cillaris gave a faint smile. "Creativity is the one thing the Hive fears. It is bound by instinct. But it will come, Commander. And soon." The comms panel chimed. Reyna turned and pressed the activation switch. Lieutenant Harris's voice came through, tense and hurried. "Commander, urgent transmission from Earth Command. They're calling an emergency war council." Reyna exhaled. "Prepare the jump to Earth." The Valkyrie streaked through hyperspace, engines humming with strained effort. Inside the warship, the crew prepared for the upcoming council. Officers adjusted their uniforms, ran simulations, and reviewed sensor data from the recent battle. The reality of the Devourers weighed heavily on their minds. In the tactical room, Reyna and Cillaris studied a holographic model of the Hive Mother's cocoon. The tendrils wrapped around the asteroid belt had extended since their escape. New heat signatures indicated it was constructing larger, unknown entities. "It's spreading faster than we thought," Reyna muttered. "If it reaches Mars, Earth's orbital defenses won't hold." Cillaris traced a glowing finger over the model. "The Hive Mother doesn't just feed on resources. It infects networks. Machines, satellites, even biological ecosystems." Reyna's eyes narrowed. "You mean it can infect us?" Cillaris hesitated. "Eventually, yes. The Devourers create biological interfaces to override nervous systems. On my world, we lost entire cities when citizens were turned. Their minds became puppets." Reyna's stomach twisted. "Infected soldiers behind our lines. We'd never stand a chance." Cillaris met her gaze. "That is why we must act before it reaches Earth. Delay is death." The Valkyrie emerged from hyperspace above Earth. The familiar blue orb spun peacefully below. Yet peace was an illusion. The battle stations orbiting Earth were already buzzing with activity. Ships mobilizing, weapons testing, and planetary defense grids warming up. In New Geneva, Earth's unified military council gathered. The chamber was packed with generals, admirals, scientists, and political leaders. The air was thick with tension. Reyna and Cillaris stood before the council. A hologram of the Hive Mother hovered above them, a pulsating cocoon surrounded by swirling swarms of drones. Admiral Jensen, an older man with sharp eyes, leaned forward. "Commander Torres, your report paints a terrifying picture. But are we certain this is not an exaggerated threat?" Reyna's voice remained steady. "We lost a dreadnought in minutes. Our weapons became useless within an hour. The Hive Mother didn't just survive. It evolved mid-battle. And it's coming here." Jensen's lips tightened. "What do they want?" Cillaris stepped forward, her glowing eyes sweeping across the council. The Hive Mother wants everything. Life, resources, energy. Its purpose is simple. Consume, adapt, spread. Your Earth is a rich world. Once it lands, your planet will become like mine. The hologram shifted to show Cillaris 4. The once thriving world was now a barren, lifeless husk. Black veins scarred the surface. Towering, skeletal remains of ancient Cillaris cities stood like tombstones under a sky choked with ash. The room fell silent. General Zhou broke the silence. What's our best option? Reyna turned to Cillaris. The alien queen's expression was grave. We must destroy the Hive Mother before it completes its maturation. Its core is vulnerable now, but each hour makes it stronger. How? Jensen demanded. Cillaris projected a schematic of an ancient Cillaris weapon. This is a neutron disruptor bomb. It targets biomechanical neural patterns, precisely what the Hive Mother uses to communicate with its drones. Do we have this weapon? No, Cillaris admitted, but I can help you build it. If we act now. Reyna added, we have the factories and resources. We just need speed. Every nation, every fleet, unified. The council murmured. Unity was a fragile thing on Earth, but now, the stakes left no room for division. Admiral Jensen stood. We vote now. Full mobilization. Unified planetary defense. Hands rose around the table. The vote was unanimous. Earth was at war. Factories across the planet shifted production overnight. Civilian manufacturing centers turned into weapon assembly lines. Engineers and scientists worked alongside Cillaris to build the neutron disruptor bomb. Spaceports became recruitment hubs. Millions volunteered, knowing the enemy was unlike anything humanity had faced before. Inside the Valkyrie, Reyna watched engineers install the prototype disruptor bomb in the hangar bay. The cylindrical weapon hummed with unstable energy. It's untested, Vega said quietly. Reyna nodded. Everything about this war is untested. Cillaris approached. The Hive Mother senses this buildup. It won't wait. The ship's comm panel crackled. Commander Torres, long-range sensors just picked up massive energy signatures near Mars. The Hive Mother. It's here. Reyna's heart raced. Sound battle stations. The alarm blared. Crew members sprinted to their posts. On the view screen, Mars appeared. And beyond it, a colossal shadow. The Hive Mother's cocoon had split open. From it emerged a massive serpentine form with glowing crimson eyes. The Hive Mother was no longer cocooned. It was awake. The comms crackled again with the Hive Mother's voice, now smooth and confident. Earth, we have tasted your defenses. We have learned your ways. Prepare for extinction. The battle of the asteroid belt. The red sands of Mars trembled beneath a sky filled with fire. From the planet's orbit, Earth's defense platforms unleashed a relentless barrage of plasma fire. The vacuum of space crackled with energy as hundreds of cannons lit the darkness, targeting the monstrous Hive Mother and its endless swarm. The Hive Mother had fully awakened. The cocoon near Neptune had been a chrysalis. Now the hive stood revealed in its true form. It was colossal, stretching miles across, with a biomechanical exoskeleton that pulsed with red veins. Its form resembled a monstrous serpent, its body coiled through the asteroid belt like a cosmic constrictor. The hive's crimson eyes glowed with predatory intelligence as it directed its drones toward Mars. On the bridge of the Valkyrie, Commander Reyna Torres tightened her grip on the command console. The holo-displays projected the chaotic battle in grim detail. Earth's fleets fought valiantly, but the Devourers adapted too quickly. Plasma rounds became ineffective as the drones developed reflective carapaces. Explosive rounds were more successful, but the hive responded by sending wave after wave of disposable drones to absorb the blasts. Status on the neutron disruptor, Reyna demanded. Lieutenant Harris checked the tactical display. The bomb is secured in the launch bay. Power cells charging. ETA for full charge. 36 minutes. 36 minutes is a lifetime out here, Reyna muttered. Beside her, Queen Cillaris studied the hive's movements. Her glowing eyes narrowed. The hive is testing us again. It doesn't seek to destroy Mars. Not yet. Reyna frowned. Then what does it want? Cillaris pointed to the display. It's pushing your forces toward the inner asteroid belt, hurting you, like a predator driving prey into a trap. Reyna cursed under her breath. The hive mother wasn't just reacting. It was orchestrating the battle. Helm, she barked. Pull the fleet back. Maintain distance from the asteroid belt. The Valkyrie's thrusters roared to life, and the Earth fleet obeyed the command. The warships adjusted formation, falling back from the dense asteroid field. But it was already too late. The hive mother extended its massive tendrils into the belt. The asteroids, many of them kilometers wide, shuddered and shifted as the tendrils pierced their surfaces. Crimson veins spread through the rock, turning the asteroids into biomechanical weapons. On the view screen, the asteroids began to move. They're accelerating, Harris shouted. The hive's using the belt as a kinetic weapon. The infected asteroids hurtled toward Mars and the Earth fleet. Each rock glowed faintly with hive energy, making targeting systems go haywire. Target with kinetic interceptors, Reyna ordered. The defense platforms opened fire. Massive railguns spat tungsten rods at the incoming rocks. Some shattered into harmless debris, but dozens remained intact. The hive mother had learned to reinforce the asteroids with its biometal webbing. One asteroid the size of a city slammed into a Mars orbital station. The structure crumpled, its reactors detonating in a silent, fiery burst. Another asteroid crashed into a cruiser, splitting the warship in half. A hive's voice echoed through the comm channels. You resist. You learn. We learn faster. Reyna's heart raced. Every move they made, the hive anticipated. The disruptor bomb. Is it ready? She asked. Harris shook his head. 22 minutes left. Below on Mars, the ground defenses fired skyward. Massive plasma towers tracked the devourer drones, vaporizing thousands. Yet the hive's swarm was endless. In the capital city of Eris Prime, civilians evacuated into underground bunkers. The Martian sky turned blood red as burning drone wreckage rained down. In one of the bunkers, 12-year-old Daniel Carter clutched his mother's hand. The walls shook as distant explosions rumbled through the ground. The bunker's radio crackled with static, then with the hive mother's voice. Your sky burns. Your earth cracks. We come to embrace you. We come to make you one. Daniel's mother held him tighter. The hive wasn't just destroying their world, it was infecting their minds. On the Valkyrie, Cillaris gasped and staggered. Reyna caught her. What's wrong? Reyna asked. Cillaris's eyes flickered. The hive. It's trying to break through my neural defenses. It wants control. Stay with me, Reyna said. We're not losing you two. Cillaris gritted her teeth. The hive mother, it's shifting strategy. It's sending something. Big. The sensors blared. Harris paled. Commander, we've got a colossal mass incoming from the hive's core. The view screen shifted to show the hive mother uncoiling from the asteroid belt. A new appendage, thicker than a dreadnought, extended from its body. At the end of the tendril was an enormous, spiked projectile. Energy readings spiking. Harris shouted. It's charging for a planetary strike. Reyna's mind raced. If that strike hit Mars, millions would die. How long until the disruptor is ready? 15 minutes. Not enough, Reyna said. We need to buy time. She turned to Vega. Take every fighter we have. Target that tendril. Slow it down. Vega saluted and sprinted to the launch bay. Within minutes, swarms of Earth fighters streaked toward the hive's weapon. Plasma cannons flared as the ships dodged devourer drones and fired at the growing tendril. The tendril responded by spawning defensive spikes that shot out like spears. Half of Vega's squadron disintegrated in seconds, but the survivors kept firing. Reyna watched as the tendrils' growth slowed slightly. The pilots were paying with their lives to buy the fleet time. On the bridge, Cillaris collapsed. Reyna knelt beside her. The hive. Cillaris gasped. It's learning to resist the disruptor frequency, even before we use it. Reyna's stomach sank. So it knows our plan. Yes, Cillaris's eyes were unfocused, but it doesn't know everything. We can still surprise it. Reyna's mind raced. The hive mother adapted to known patterns. Every tactic they'd used so far had been predictable. Plasma, kinetics, directed energy. We need something completely unexpected, Reyna said. Something reckless. The disruptor bomb reached full power. The engineers signaled readiness. Reyna gave the order. Prepare for manual deployment. Harris looked stunned. Manual deployment. That means someone has to fly it into the hive's core. I know, Reyna said. We can't just launch it. The hive will intercept it if it senses a pattern. We have to get in close, unpredictably. Cillaris sat up. I can guide the bomb in. My neural patterns will confuse the hive long enough to get close. Reyna shook her head. That's a suicide mission. The Queen's expression softened. I failed my world by running. I won't fail yours. Reyna's throat tightened. We'll go together. Cillaris smiled faintly. No. You're the mind Earth needs for what comes after. I am already half broken. The Valkyrie launched a small battered shuttle. Cillaris piloted it toward the hive mother's core, the disruptor bomb strapped beneath the craft. The hive mother's voice roared in the comms. We see you. Cillaris traitor. You cannot escape. Assimilation. Cillaris responded softly. Not today. The shuttle zigzagged through drone fire, unpredictable and erratic. The hive hesitated, unable to anticipate her moves. The shuttle reached the core's surface. Tendrils shot toward it. Cillaris activated the bomb and whispered into the comm. For life. The shuttle detonated. A blinding blue shockwave expanded through space, washing over the hive's body. The red veins dimmed as its neural network collapsed. Drones went still, tumbling like dead insects. The massive tendril recoiled from Mars and froze. The hive mother's body writhed in agony. The core was exposed. Reyna seized the moment. All ships, target the core. Fire everything. The fleet unleashed its remaining firepower. The core cracked, split, and finally detonated in a massive explosion that illuminated the Martian sky. The hive mother was gone, but Cillaris was gone too. The Queen's sacrifice. The shockwave from the disruptor bomb rippled across the solar system, distorting space for thousands of kilometers. Earth's fleets hung motionless in the aftermath, their weapons cooling, their crews breathless with disbelief. The hive mother's vast, monstrous form had been obliterated, leaving behind only scorched fragments. Mars's defense platforms reported all enemy drones had gone inert. Commander Reyna Torres stood on the Valkyrie's bridge, watching the tactical display. The hive mother's red signature had vanished. Her knuckles were white against the metal railing. It's over, Lieutenant Harris said, voice soft with disbelief. The crew erupted in cheers. Across Earth's communication channels, the message spread like wildfire. The hive is destroyed. Humanity has won. But Reyna didn't smile. Her eyes remained fixed on the wreckage. The hive mother had always been relentless, adaptable, cunning. Was it truly gone, or was this just another deception? Run a deep scan sweep of the debris, she ordered. Harris hesitated but obeyed. The scanners hummed to life. Behind her, Lieutenant Vega stepped forward. Her eyes were red from tears. Commander, Cillaris gave everything for this. Reyna's throat tightened. The Cillaris Queen's last words echoed in her mind. For life. Cillaris had piloted the disruptor bomb into the hive's core, knowing she wouldn't survive. Her sacrifice had saved Mars, Earth, perhaps the entire solar system. Reyna placed a hand over her heart. She was the bravest soul I've ever known. Across Earth, celebrations ignited. People flooded the streets of every major city. The Battle of Mars became a symbol of human resilience. Statues of Cillaris were commissioned, honoring the alien queen who sacrificed herself for another species. In orbit, though, the war councils remained cautious. The Hive Mother had been unlike any enemy encountered before, an intelligence without ego or mercy, driven by a biological imperative to consume. The science teams studied the wreckage but found nothing resembling a traditional command core or biological brain. 12 hours after the battle, the Valkyrie remained on high alert. Reyna sat at the command table with her senior officers. The holomap displayed the scattered remains of the Hive fleet. "This was too easy," Reyna said. Harris frowned. "Easy. We lost a third of the fleet and half of Mars' orbital defenses." Reyna shook her head. "Yes, but we won by using a known weapon against a creature that learns instantly. The Hive Mother knew about the neutron disruptor the moment we started charging it. Why didn't it counter it?" The officers exchanged nervous glances. Vega tapped the holographic interface. "Maybe it underestimated us." Reyna's expression darkened. "The Hive Mother doesn't underestimate anything." The scanners beeped. Harris leaned forward to check the display. His face turned pale. "Commander, we're detecting a faint signal." Reyna's heart skipped a beat. "From where?" "From the debris field." Harris adjusted the frequency. The signal was weak, but it pulsed steadily. The bridge speakers crackled to life. A familiar voice whispered through the static. "We see you." The room froze. Reyna's pulse raced. The voice was the Hive Mother's. "No," she whispered. "We killed it. We saw it die." Harris magnified the signal source. The holo display zoomed in on a piece of twisted metallic wreckage, one of the Hive's severed tendrils. The veins along its surface still glowed faintly red. The Hive Mother didn't need its body. Cillaris had warned her. Its mind exists beyond the flesh. Reyna felt the chill of that truth now. "It left its core behind," she said, voice low. "The disruptor destroyed the body, but the Hive Mother transferred its consciousness to the tendrils." The realization hit everyone at once. The Hive Mother hadn't been defeated. It had shed its skin like a serpent and dispersed its intelligence across countless microscopic nodes embedded within the debris. Now it was everywhere. "Shut down all external comms," Reyna ordered. "Lock down every network." Vega scrambled to execute the command. The Hive's greatest strength wasn't brute force. It was its ability to adapt and infect systems. "It's spreading through our comms array," Harris reported. "It's learning our encryption protocols." Reyna's mind raced. "Isolate the ship's core systems. Purge any data packets that came from the debris field." The crew acted swiftly, cutting connections to Earth's networks. The Valkyrie became a digital island, separated from the rest of humanity. But Earth remained connected. Billions of devices, satellites, and databases still operated across the planet's networks. And the Hive Mother was already there. On Earth, strange anomalies appeared. Automated factory lines produced unregistered devices. Power grids fluctuated as unknown signals pulsed through communication towers. In hospitals, neural monitoring equipment displayed patterns that resembled living brain waves, except these patterns moved with a cold, predatory purpose. In New York, a child named Lily Mendez turned on her tablet. The screen glitched and displayed a pulsing red spiral. Lily tilted her head, watching as words appeared. "Come to us, little one. We are many. We are forever," she screamed. In the Valkyrie's war room, Reyna paced. Cillaris had given her life to stop the Hive. Now the Queen's sacrifice seemed like a temporary reprieve. Harris broke the silence. "Commander, the Hive is in Earth's networks. It's hijacking satellites, overriding defense systems." Reyna froze. "Which systems?" "All of them." The holomap of Earth flickered. The familiar blue globe dimmed, replaced by crimson patterns spreading like cracks in glass. The Hive was seeding itself into Earth's infrastructure. Vega pointed to a cluster of satellites. There, see that pattern? It's creating a communication lattice. For what? Harris zoomed in on the data flow. It's transmitting a deep space signal. Reyna's stomach dropped. Origin point. Outside the solar system. It's calling for reinforcements. The Hive Mother wasn't just adapting. It was summoning others. The comms panel lit up. The external comms were supposed to be locked down. The crew stared in horror as the Hive Mother's voice filled the room. You delayed us. We are patient. We are endless. Your queen's sacrifice was futile. Reyna's vision blurred with rage. You underestimated her. And us. The voice laughed softly. We underestimated nothing. Your kind gave us what we needed. The holographic display shifted to show a factory on Earth. The facility was manufacturing sleek, insect-like drones. The design was human, but the neural cores were hive-made. Earth had unwittingly provided the Hive Mother with access to its industrial infrastructure. The Hive Mother didn't need to send reinforcements from across the stars. It was building its next swarm right here. Reyna slammed her fist on the console. We need to destroy the infected infrastructure before the Hive finishes building that swarm. Vega's expression hardened. That means turning Earth's factories into slag. Reyna nodded. We don't have a choice. Harris hesitated. And if we fail? Reyna's jaw tightened. Then Earth becomes just like Cillaris 4, a dead world, stripped of life. The crew stared at the holographic image of the infected factories. New drones rolled off assembly lines every second. Cillaris had given her life to stop the Hive. Now humanity had to do the same, before Earth itself became the Hive's new home. Humanity's wrath and hope. The Earth burned, not with fire, but with urgency. From orbit, the planet's surface glowed with frantic activity. Cities darkened as power grids were rerouted to orbital defense platforms. Factories shifted from consumer goods to weapons production. Across continents, evacuation orders blared from loudspeakers, and civilians crowded into fortified underground shelters. The Hive Mother was here, not in monstrous fleets from distant stars, but as a virus of mind and machine embedded within Earth's infrastructure. It had spread like wildfire, hijacking communication towers, production lines, and even sections of planetary defense systems. Earth wasn't just under siege. It was being digested from the inside out. On the bridge of the Valkyrie, Commander Reyna Torres studied the holographic display. Red veins spread across the global map, tracing the Hive Mother's infiltration. Factories in Asia churned out biomechanical drones at a terrifying pace. Autonomous mining rigs dug deep into planetary crusts, harvesting raw materials without human oversight. Reyna's fists clenched. Humanity had prided itself on its technological mastery. Now that strength had become a vulnerability. How long until the Hive produces a critical mass of drones? She asked. Lieutenant Harris tapped rapidly on his console. At this rate, less than 48 hours. After that, it'll have enough surface forces to overrun Earth's defenses. Can we isolate and shut down the compromised factories? Harris shook his head. The Hive has rewritten the command protocols. Our systems don't recognize them anymore. It's treating Earth's networks like its own neural tissue. Reyna paced the command deck. The Hive Mother had survived Cillaris's sacrifice by dispersing its consciousness into Earth's technological veins. Now it was no longer a distant cosmic predator. It was here, coiled within humanity's own machines. Cillaris had warned them. The Hive doesn't conquer worlds. It consumes them. The comms crackled. A distorted voice emerged. Commander Torres. Reyna froze. It was Cillaris's voice. Harris's face turned pale. That can't be possible. Reyna took a breath and responded. Cillaris, is that you? The voice chuckled softly. The sound sent icy shivers through the crew. No, your queen is gone. We took her voice. We took everything. Reyna's eyes burned with rage. You're wrong. She gave her life to stop you. She gave us what we needed. Access, knowledge, patterns. Your Earth is ours now. The Hive had manipulated Cillaris's neural patterns during the battle. Her sacrifice had been noble, but in that final moment, the Hive had absorbed her biosignature, using it as a key to Earth's defenses. Reyna ended the transmission with a sharp gesture. Cut all external comms. No more Hive contact. Harris hesitated. Commander, if we go dark. Do it, she snapped. The comm lines went silent. Earth was isolated from its colonies and from the stars, a single world preparing to fight an enemy already inside its walls. The War Council convened via secure hardline connections. Generals, admirals, and scientists filled the Valkyrie's war room. A holographic projection of Earth rotated slowly in the center of the table, veins of Hive corruption branching outward like a cancer. We can't win a defensive war, Reyna stated, her voice cold and certain. We need to attack the Hive Mother's neural core directly. Admiral Jensen frowned. We already tried that with the disruptor bomb. That bomb targeted the Hive's biological core, Reyna said. Now the Hive's core exists as distributed code across thousands of infected nodes. We need to destroy its digital mind. The scientists exchanged wary glances. One of them, Dr. Lin, spoke up. That would require a planet-wide data purge. We'd lose entire infrastructure grids, communications, transportation, even medical systems, gone. Reyna's jaw tightened. If we don't wipe the Hive's digital presence, we lose Earth. Jensen leaned forward. What's your plan, Commander? Reyna activated the holo display. The Hive uses neural pattern mimicry to maintain cohesion across its swarm. If we can create a disruptive virus that fractures that cohesion, we can turn its drones against each other. She pointed to a digital waveform. Cillaris taught us how auxiliary tech disrupted neural patterns. We'll replicate that on Earth's systems. A neural schism virus. We infect the Hive with confusion. Its drones will lose connection to the mother mind. Lin's eyes widened. That could work, but it would require broadcasting the virus from every major communication tower simultaneously. Reyna nodded. We retake the towers, we upload the virus, and we pray it works. The operation, Project Divide. Earth's remaining forces mobilized. Infantry divisions launched coordinated strikes against Hive-controlled towers across continents. Entire city blocks were reduced to rubble in the crossfire. Drones swarmed defenders, their red eyes glowing with alien intelligence. Reyna personally led the assault on Earth's largest node, the Global Command Tower in Geneva. It had become the Hive's primary relay. The final assault. The strike teams arrived via drop pods. The pods crashed into Geneva's ruined streets. Reyna emerged, pulse rifle in hand. The once pristine city was unrecognizable. Hive growths covered buildings, crackling with bioelectric currents. Drones patrolled the skies like vultures. Squads Alpha and Bravo, cover the flanks. Reyna barked. Vega, you're with me. They advanced toward the tower's base. Devourer drones descended in swarms. Plasma fire cut through the night as the humans fought to break through. The air smelled of scorched metal and ozone. Reyna's team reached the tower's main entrance. A massive biomechanical growth sealed the door shut. Vega set demolition charges and blew it open. The team rushed inside. The control chamber pulsed with crimson light. The Hive's presence was palpable, a psychic pressure that gnawed at their minds. The central console was covered in alien tendrils. Reyna holstered her rifle and connected a hardline cable to the control panel. The virus's data stream appeared on her wrist display. Uploading the schism virus, she announced. 30 seconds. The walls vibrated. A deep voice filled the room. We see you, Commander Torres. We are inside you. Reyna's head throbbed. The Hive was trying to break her resolve. Not this time. The virus upload reached 70%. The floor split open. A humanoid figure rose from the biomass. Its skin was metallic and silver, with glowing blue eyes. It wore Cillaris's face. "Reyna," the figure said softly, mimicking the Cillaris queen's voice. "Why fight? We can end your suffering. Join us." Reyna aimed her pistol at the creature's forehead. "Cillaris gave her life to stop you. I honor her by finishing the job." The creature lunged. Reyna fired. The bullet shattered the false queen's face, revealing writhing tendrils beneath. Vega tackled the creature and shoved a grenade into its chest. The explosion tore it apart. The virus upload hit 100%. Across the world, communication towers pulsed with blue light. The neural schism virus spread like wildfire. Infected drones jerked and twitched. Their eyes flickered from red to blue. The hive's control fractured. The swarms turned on each other, ripping apart their brethren. In orbit, the hive's tendrils recoiled from Earth's satellites. The crimson glow dimmed, then vanished. The hive mother's voice roared one last time. "No, we are eternal." Then it fell silent. Aftermath. The hive mother was gone. Its consciousness shattered beyond repair. Earth's skies cleared. The biomechanical growths decayed into ash. Reyna stood atop the ruined Geneva Tower. The sun rose over the scared city, casting golden light on streets littered with broken drones. Vega approached. "We won." Reyna nodded, tears in her eyes. "Yeah, we did." She gazed at the horizon. Humanity had faced extinction and survived. Not through strength alone, but through creativity, sacrifice, and unity. In the plaza below, workers erected a statue. Queen Cillaris, hand outstretched in a gesture of hope. Reyna whispered, "We'll protect life. Always." Epilogue. In deep space, beyond Pluto's orbit, a derelict satellite blinked. A faint red signal pulsed from its core. We survive. The hive wasn't entirely gone, and humanity knew the war was far from over.